Everything just froze.
Welcome to the Undrafted Uncensored cast of Pod. Hosted by Nick Archuleta. Mosted by Colin Zanker. And last but certainly is least, Joseph Goodwin.
Nick, you don't get to go because we're kicking it off with the best strikeout ever in
the 1-2
minor league baseball.
And he'll throw the ball to the wall, and he swung. That's an out. He swung. That's a live ball, and that is the end of the inning.
He was just practicing.
I remember when that happened, actually.
It just happened last week.
Where were you when the guy?
That was a Hartford Yard Goats.
No, that's an old video, though.
No,
that was Josh Flores.
Josh Fuentes,
whatever.
That's what I said.
Sorry, Josh Flores. I work with the Josh Flores, so
that was Brian Flores.
That's Arenado's cousin.
Yeah,
Tom
I thought it
Flores.
just happened in the other day.
Dude, that's like a couple
just
years
popped
old.
up back on the stream.
Yeah, that's a couple years
went
old.
viral the other day.
That's because
Went viral.
TikTok goes viral like in cycles. Everything's cyclical.
Well, John Boy did a thing on it too, and a breakdown. So I don't know.
Yeah,
like he just did a breakdown a few days ago. So that's why it popped up on my timeline.
That's funny.
No, it's old. I've seen it before. Not to take the fun out of it because it is still funny because it is still a live pitch technically.
I think that's funnier that people are, watching it now. I love it when like a Vine goes viral on TikTok and everyone's like, "Oh, I love that." It was like, no, that's been around for years.
Yeah. Have you heard this song by this Rick Astley guy? Never Gonna Give You Up?
Dude, that
Song's
meme
amazing.
is great. Yeah. I made sure to add that song to my techno playlist at work. So I'm driving Amazon van around, blasting techno, and then randomly
welcome in everyone to Undrafted Uncensored, where
We're never
we
gonna
know
give
what a
you
legal
up.
pitch is,
We're never
and
gonna let you down.
never mind. Shows us
And we're never going to let Nick finish.
Nope.
'Cause
Or
I
turn
stole
around
the intro,
and hurt you.
and then Nick, and then Joe interrupted him.
We waited 2 weeks for this.
We waited 2 weeks for this.
Apparently.
Oh man,
Hey Nick, knock knock.
who's there?
Nope.
Interrupting cow.
Moo. Oh, well, welcome in everybody. Sorry we'd off a couple weeks. Colin and I both decided to have fights with bugs, and clearly we came out of it. The bugs died. We didn't. So I'm just glad I can breathe again.
Mine still could be hanging around.
I mean,
I had
Skyrim.
baseball
Does
today
that count?
and running around. I started to cough a little bit. I was like, oh, that's not gone.
Nah,
Damn baseball.
but
I mean,
to
the
my
amount of
defense,
running that you do.
I don't remember if I told you guys the story when I was in Cincinnati. I did take the correct color of Mucinex this time, though.
Oh, you weren't
remember.
sleepy.
Yes, I was not sleeping in the middle of the day because I took the wrong color Mucinex.
Well played. Good. I'm glad you at least could see straight enough for that. We'll blame it on the sickness in Cincinnati.
Yes,
And you're back in Colorado. You can see fine.
I'm back home. I can see. I can barely breathe because there's no oxygen up here, but I love it that way. And the Nuggets are in third place right now in the Western Conference. Is that good enough? Are they good enough? I'm sitting here and I'm wondering. I watched this game today. They had the lead in the first. They got themselves in a hole. They dug out of it a little bit. They fell back in it, and it was like watching a terrible gravedigger just dig a hole and then dig himself out of it to get back in it because he realized he filled the hole in with the dirt he was getting himself out with. And
That didn't
It's kind of
work,
like you
Nick.
needed a gravedigger, but all you have is this monster truck that says gravedigger.
Yeah, I was gonna say first and foremost, nothing bad has ever been said about Gravedigger the monster truck. All right, he's never been under. It's the greatest monster truck ever. All right, so
Yeah, sure.
But
But
stop talking
Bigfoot.
crap about the Gravedigger.
no, if you're
Bigfoot.
digging graves, a monster truck is not going
Gravedigger
to help.
was number one overall. All right.
As a monster
Anytime I
truck,
ever watched
yes.
any
Wow.
type of monster trucks, I always wanted to see Gravedigger.
Bigfoot set the precedent.
Old news: Gravedigger
Ah.
broke the mold, much like Nikola Jokic has broken the mold in the NBA. So
He's the Gravedigger of
I
basketball.
will not say that I'm worried about the Nuggets because they have the best player in the world, and arguably, if he gets some more championships, right now he's definitely the number 2 best player in the history of the NBA. The things that he's done in the history of the NBA, the records he's broken, the way he's transcended time, he's the second best player to ever play this game. Now, there's going to be things with championships, obviously, but if he gets some more championships, there's going to be no question about it.
But he can't do it by
could
himself.
even push Jordan for those, because Jordan broke records and changed the game in ways that, of views and people being able to watch the game and wanting to go. But the records and the things that Jokic is doing in the NBA, it is transforming the game even more so than what Steph Curry did with the 3.
I mean, we'll have to see because we're kind of in that transition period right now. But it absolutely has the chance to, for sure. Especially if the Nuggets come out and they kick the shit out of one of the best defenses ever in Oklahoma City, or in the 3-point juggernaut that is the Celtics, that take more threes than anybody else in the history of the game. If they can do that, then yes, the league will absolutely start to have to shift because they're going to have to do something to stop Jokic. But last year, the Timberwolves were able to do it with a good defense, and granted, the supporting cast. It's also just, is Jokic going to have the guys around him? Like, the important context for today, I feel like, was more so just Jokic fell and hurt his elbow in the first quarter, didn't make another shot until the third. Gordon goes down in the first quarter, doesn't come back. So now it's Jokic versus Chet and Ihart at the same time, but he doesn't have Aaron Gordon in there also. And Porter played valiantly. He did relatively well. Nuggets went up for a while OKC was kind of just missing shots, just kind of getting themselves together. And then it got away from the Nuggets, but like, I don't think it got away from them in a terrible way. Like, they're hurt. They're not whole. Strother's out for a long time. Gordon went down in the game. Jokic played through it and started to look better towards the end. But like, that's not the Nuggets team that the Thunder will see in a 7-game series. So the fact that it was as close as it was for as long as it was, with the Nuggets not really being whole, I think it's fine. And we're going to see what it looks like tomorrow. That's going to be a big deal also because we'll see who plays. It's just little things though, like the outcomes I'm not super concerned of, like, because I feel like Nick asked almost 2 different questions of like, is the 3rd seed good enough and are the Nuggets good enough? 3rd seed, yeah, absolutely. I'll take that. I think that's good enough. The Nuggets, I think they can be, as long as they can go into the playoffs with any, semblance of health, they're going to be okay. But matchups are going to be huge, man. How many bigs does the opposing team have to throw at Jokic? That's going to matter.
I mean, maybe it matters. I mean, yes, it can matter in ways, but Jokic is the best, and
yep,
it does fall down on those other guys. Can they make shots? Won't they make shots? But I believe if they're going to focus all of that on Jokic, by the time the playoffs come, these guys are going to realize more so that, moving the ball around, getting it to the right guy is even more important. And Malone will preach that, till he's more red in the face than he was the other day when he got the tech in the first 45 seconds. Like, he is going to harness that, and he will put anyone's ass on the bench who isn't listening and taking stupid shots. That's what Malone will do. So it comes down to health. If Jokic is healthy, after seeing him lead Serbia to almost the gold medal game, single-handedly, I said this when it happened, why are we worried about him playing a team that is not full of superstars? Like even the non-Jokic minutes the other night are when the Nuggets came back.
That was crazy. That was awesome.
The ability to do that. And I also think this even goes back to that Lakers matchup where I talked about, they got beat. the Nuggets didn't try and change anything. They just played their game. Malone stuck with it. In the playoffs, it will be a different game. And that's why I mentioned Malone. Like, if those guys aren't doing the things to win, they'll put them on the bench.
This is a frustrating team because there are several shooters out here that the Nuggets should be able to rely upon, and they disappear. Jamal's starting to heat up again. We're looking at the old Jamal that we've been looking for, but now, MPJ's taking these jumpers. Christian Brown's having a hard time behind the arc. I mean, Westbrook's always had an issue shooting threes his whole career, and
but he's made more open threes than I expected him to. I think.
It's funny.
Yeah,
the three he made against Sacramento, I was like, oh my god, he hit it after almost airballing one this shot before.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh god, this is the Russell Westbrook experience.
Oops.
It's honestly though, like the fact that he takes them is kind of good because it keeps the other team honest. It forces them to have to consider defending him. Because if he's going to keep hitting him, you got to do something about it, And Aaron Gordon hitting threes against Phoenix was insane. I don't know if either of you guys watched that game.
I mean, yeah, I was working, but I had it on.
Oh, dude, it was he hits like 3 or 4 in a row at the very beginning. Like Aaron Gordon is becoming a knockdown 3-point shooter. Yep. Like I just want him to take as much rest and fucking time as he wants to and just get healthy because I'm not sure how ready the rest of the league is for him to be able to do that in a playoff setting. Hopefully he can. Knock on wood. But dude, his 3-point shot has gotten so much better this year. Like in the past couple of years, I have been terrified to see Aaron Gordon attempt any kind of 3-point shot. Like it's not the same as Will Barton because he would take like 30 a game, it felt like. But just seeing Aaron Gordon attempt them always made me scared because it was like, oh, man. But, dude, this year's been fantastic. And that might end up being a guy that you don't expect to have to rely on, Nick. But he's been good, man. Like 2K has adjusted his 3-point shot to like A+. That doesn't tell you.
Well, he's like you said, he's been way more reliable, but problem is he's still nursing that calf and he keeps trying to come back from it. It seems like earlier than he probably should. And that doesn't help either because you're not helping the team when you're sitting on the bench. True. If it's hurt, heal it because come the postseason, they can shoot you up. They can do whatever they need to do. But at some point it's going to affect your game, your ability. And it's, this is about winning championships at that point. It's not about anything else.
True, but he looked good in the first quarter. Like he looked ready, and then I think he just re-aggravated it or something. But you're right in general.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously Gordon is a huge piece of it, and I don't want to downplay the fact that Jokic can do it single-handedly because Serbia did have some players there that could play, and if you're having Gordon and Murray hurt or MPJ hurt, whatever these nagging injuries are, obviously Strother, it's going to be more difficult for the Nuggets to make moves and move on. But you still have to account for Jokic. If he's healthy, we know, having watched him all the time, he is always going to find the right guy or make the right move. Like 99% of the time, it works every time. Okay. So it's like, I don't know why we have to doubt that the Nuggets should be able to move on. Like this is that they're a championship contender. And I'm saying this as the Cavs just extended their winning streak by beating the Bucks. Like the Cavs are so damn good too. The regular season good. We'll see how that translates to the playoffs this year. If they're last year's Oklahoma City this season, but for the West and the Nuggets, I think the Nuggets are, like I said, kind of Kansas City Chiefsing it. They're getting by. They're not going too much, especially with these injuries. And you started that off, Nick, by talking about Jamal Murray. Is this the Murray that he's played 54 games now this year, I believe, maybe 55? Last time he played 63, or 65 games, you know what happened? There's a championship.
What happened? Tell us.
There's a banner. There's a banner hanging up at Ball Arena.
There's a Bruce banner.
It's dangling. It's dangling from the rafters because Murray was there, and he finally got himself into playing shape at some point in time of the season. And it looks like he finally did for this year too.
Dirty fucking dangles, boys.
If the Nuggets don't win it this year, or at least make the finals, I think it is a disappointment. And this is, of course, barring those injuries that, like I said, could happen. Or linger around. I mean, if the Nuggets lose AG for a series, especially against a team, even like LA or like I'm not as worried about Minnesota. Excuse me.
Yeah, not anymore. You're right. No, that just horrifies me. That's it. Just that.
Yeah, but if you
losing Aaron Gordon for a series,
it's tough because he's one of your better defenders and shutting down guys, and Peyton Watson can step in and do some stuff, but. It's just, I sit here and look at the Nuggets, and I'm not worried about this team until the playoffs start and these things happen. That's kind of where I sit on it.
Yeah,
So,
I find myself watching everything with that connotation of how is it going to look in the playoffs. That's why I'm like, it sucks. It would have been nice to get the win, but didn't look terrible, all things considered. Sorry, Nick.
No, you're good. That actually helped a little bit more because help me frame the question better. So, I mean, we all saw the national narrative, Lakers finally find a way to beat Nuggets, blah, blah, blah. Lakers now have the formula to beat Denver. And rest of NBA is taking note now. What did the Lakers really show us when they beat the Nuggets, other than they found a way with two bigs to control Joker?
I mean, it's the same thing they did in the I believe it was in the Western Conference Finals when they put Rui on Jokic and had Davis roam. Like they've already done that, and they almost won that game. Or it may have even been last year in one of the games that they did win, because we didn't sweep them last year, I believe, right? It was a gentleman's sweep. We lost
6
one.
games. No,
6 games. Okay, so
I'm
that might have been
sure
one of the games that we lost
Yeah.
where they did that, and they put Rui on him and had Davis roam. Like they've already shown that, like that can work. It hasn't worked for 7 games yet, so we'll see. To me, the only thing that still ever worked for 7 games is having multiple bigs to constantly throw at Jokic and cause him to change the way he plays. But that's still, like, if the Nuggets were totally healthy last year, we would have seen, and it still took 7 games for the Timberwolves to do it, and then they couldn't get any further. So I don't know, man. You're right. It's matchup dependent for sure, but it's that idea of losing Gordon, though, like the work he does in the paint, the other big, because like I love Peyton Swatson, but he's not gonna do as much of that Aaron Gordon stuff. I feel like that's what scares me. But even still, like it's Jokic, man. He's so good, and it feels like the West outside of OKC is not set up to, like, there is no team like Minnesota with those 3 bigs that they can send at you. Like the Lakers barely have one in Jackson Hayes. They signed Alex Len in free agency to have another big on the roster. So I feel like I've been of the mind, like, I want the Lakers. Let's go. I want the smoke, because especially this year, this is the year you want the Lakers.
Well, you're right. It was
because after an off season, they're going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, it was 5 games last year. It was the Jamal Murray shot. I thought for some reason it went 6 because they lost 1 in LA, but they didn't.
I was just going to believe it.
It was
that sounded right.
It was game 2 at home that the Nuggets, game 4 is the one that they lost in LA, where they basically just got beat the whole way through, and then Jamal Murray in game 5.
Okay, so 3-0, and it was okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah, if you do, I mean, you are right. If this is the time that you want to play the Lakers early, because the less chemistry they can build with each other, with Luka being there, that's a fair point, because Luka can obviously take over a game in a lot of different ways as well. But I The Nuggets, we've talked about their lack of depth. I mean, talk about lack of depth. That team lacks more depth than almost anyone else in the NBA right now. So
Why do you hate Dalton Connect, Colin?
Austin Crimea Reavers.
He's a starter
I just once the playoffs get here, that's what we'll see what happens. If we're down to the final 2-3 games and the Nuggets are missing players going in, then yes, my worry meter will go way up for the playoffs and my tune will change about them making it to the finals. But right now, let them rest. Nick, you're completely correct in that. Just let them rest. Who cares? I don't care what time you take off. Fall to the 6th seed. It doesn't really matter because the Nuggets also, for some reason, historically seem to do well on the road.
I'd like to stay around
home court feels a little less like a home court advantage sometimes. I mean, if you want example A, B, C, and what was it, 123? Look at Game 7 against the Timberwolves last year.
There you go. And it'd be funny to go to LA round 1, whoop their ass in their home court, silence all those fans. That'd be a lot of fun. It'd be fun to do it to the Clippers too.
Sorry, the one thing that I want to say too, though, with what your question was, Nick, it was about they found a way to stop the Nuggets. The difference is that in a 7-game series, you're not going to have you're most likely not going to have all of those guys shooting that poorly in a 7-game series. That's why I'm not worried about the Nuggets in the playoffs. Because, they found a way to stop them, and the Nuggets couldn't hit from anywhere that game. In a 7-game series, the likelihood of that happening to this Nuggets team, having all these guys who can shoot the ball really well, is just so unlikely. I don't believe it's a magic fix to beat the Nuggets that the Lakers found out. Yeah, they beat them for a game, but they beat them in a game last playoffs too.
Yeah. And I mean, what is this all of a sudden emergence of Zeke Naji, by the way?
Dude, what the fuck?
what happened there?
Like, is he legitimately going to take the Jeff Green minutes? Like, he plays differently. He's not going to take that exact role. But, like, is that the big? Is that going to be the guy that comes in as your 8th or maybe even forces you to play a 9th guy in the rotation besides, like, DeAndre Jordan for 3 minutes in a game at the end of the half or some shit, which happened a couple times in the finals run. But, like, dude, Zeke Naji all of a sudden, like, I've had a few like stupid $5-10 parlays. Zeke Naji hits every time. It's always somebody else. If fucking Bradley Beal hits any 3-pointers in Jokic's ridiculous game, I get like $150 off of 5. But no, of course not.
I mean,
Zeke Naji's been awesome for Zeke Naji.
He's been better ever since Calvin Booth called him out.
Yeah,
and Malone put him.
It's not a joke. After the trade deadline, Calvin Booth called him out. And he stepped up, something that I don't think any of us saw happening. Obviously, the Nuggets had a belief in him with the contract they gave him before, but he's finally proving to, be worth some of that. You can't even say he's worth close. I don't think half of it yet because he kind of stole money the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I think that it's great to see. Will he do it in the playoffs? He doesn't have playoff experience.
Yeah, he may not even get the minutes.
He's been there, but he hasn't played.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm just like the fact that happened. Like, holy shit. What's next? Is Dario Saric going to show up and actually look competent?
I was going to say, well, Dario Saric will play 1 minute. That's what happens next.
Dope. Dude. Everything is coming up, Millhouse, fellas.
Who else is going to play at least 1 minute? Eric Johnson for the Colorado Avalanche.
Fly, Condor, fly!
Thank you for that transition. Obviously we got to, some more time for the Nuggets to get themselves settled. So let's move on to the team that I feel like finally listened to what I've been saying.
Definitely.
And they got bigger and they got meaner. And after watching that game yesterday, holy shit, this team hasn't even gelled yet, and they look like that. Well, the second period being what it was, this is still a team that's got new parts that are just trying to get everybody on the same page. But that third period, this team is about to scare some teams.
I don't know if any of you guys saw the montage of Leafs fans and their tweets about the game.
Yeah.
It was so great because they're just like, oh my God, this Avs team is unbelievable. And the Leafs are up. This doesn't feel right. And it's like Leafs fan being nervous, like to the point where they basically sound like they've lost the game already when they're up.
Yeah.
And
it was funny because you go down 4-3 and, normally you're like, crap, goaltending's not there tonight. The defense isn't there. But it didn't have that feel, especially when they were up like 30-13 on shots and they were trailing by a goal. I'm like, no, this isn't over at all.
And let's not fail to mention Nathan McKinnon in that game scored his 999th point.
Yep.
So with the empty net goal, so he's one goal away, which he should get against the Blackhawks tomorrow night. 1 point, excuse me, 1 point away. Yes, he's 1 point away from 1,000 points in his career. And I mean, it was there wasn't that seed out like, oh crap, they gave it up, it's over now. This team once the Avs made the trade for Brock Nelson, I know Sidney Crosby was a kind of the pipe dream and thing I've been pushing. But Brock Nelson, once they got him from the Islanders, it was basically game over for me in that hope. They got Lindgren and Vesey, but the Brock Nelson deal, I think, was the deal that just was like, all right, the Avs are done going after Sidney Crosby, because in that trade when they gave up Cal Ritchie, who I really liked, in all honesty. I like Cal Ritchie, but he wasn't ready for the NHL. He did score. He did win me a bunch of money with his first goal, though, this season. I went to a game, one of the first games I went to with my homeboy Brandon. We were sitting there, and I was like, damn, Cal Ritchie is doing good. And he was so close. And the next game, I was like, I'm betting on Cal to score a goal. And sure enough, I think I didn't bet him for first goal scorer, but he's, I put 20 on him to score a goal, and I think it scored me like 250 or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Ritchie making Colin Richard.
Yeah. So you saw the Avs. They gave up the youth. I mean, these are the guys these are the Bo Byrams that McFarland wouldn't trade. McDealin right now is who he is. But McFarland in the past seasons, he wouldn't trade the Bo and Byrams, who, guess what, is not here anymore. Don't know if you guys have noticed. They could have traded him and gotten some assets over the last few years. But these are the guys that they've traded along with some draft. They kind of said F them draft picks. But, Calvin DeHaan is gone. Obviously, Shillington and I can't remember the other guy who was in the Rangers trade. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. But they got rid of some youth, and they hadn't gotten rid of a lot of youth up until this point. And I think this is one of those things where, for the Avalanche and McFarland, he finally feels comfortable in the GM role. Maybe he didn't want to shake too many trees his first few years. But the fact that Gabe Landeskog came out and said he doesn't know if he's ever going to play again, they obviously know he's not coming back this year. That gave McFarland full reign, and he went to the grocery store. We should do. Oh man, we should do the. I don't think we have it anymore. But the corner store. Yeah, he went shopping and picked everything off the shelf that he wanted, and he might have given up some some produce that's still ripening in those rookies, but he got the ripest shit off the tree. He got the guys that are ready to play and help this team go and win a championship. We have seen this has been the most active, most wild Avs season, and possibly the most wild season for any NHL team ever. You think about a full goaltender swap. No goaltenders are on this team that started this season.
Yeah, this is like a 2K
I mean,
rebuild.
I guess our guy in Loveland is back and forth. But the Avs don't have any of the same goaltenders left they started the season with.
RIP Juice.
They made full sale changes with the offense. The defense has changed their whole mantra. You mentioned getting bigger. They are now one of the biggest teams in the league. This is a completely different attitude than we've seen in past years, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the whole damn thing, and I hope that they can figure out a way.
Thumbnail. You know, it's like I traded every player on the Avalanche, except for Kale and McKinnon, and look what I made. And it's a team full of smart, big motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm excited because I don't think the Avs have had a team this intimidating since the late 90s, mid-90s. You're muted still, Nick. Nick, you're still muted.
Sorry, what?
The whole time, whatever cool stuff you said, you're still muted. He's back. Tell us the smart stuff. Tell us the smart stuff you were spitting.
No, tell us something stupid.
I'd mentioned at the beginning of the season, this is a really good hockey team. Don't get me wrong. They're going to score. They're going to be good on defense. They're fast. They can skate around a whole bunch of different guys. But when it comes to physicality of the game, they weren't there. And that was going to be their downfall, was they could not keep up with even one big guy. You get a bruiser out there, he's going to at some point knock somebody down, and you have nobody to defend them. You have LOC who kind of can, but LOC's not really that big of a fighter, and you have nobody to really fill in.
O'Connor almost got in a fight last night.
Yeah, he did.
At the net, that was close. They, I'm excited about the moves that, like I said, McDealin made. It finally, he's comfortable in that spot, and I'm glad that he had basically free reign to make the moves that he wanted. Because once the Mikko trade happened, we said, I said it at least, is that this better be followed up by some other things. And sure as hell it was. And I am blown away by the players that he brought in. I didn't know a lot about Brock Nelson because he was an Islander. Yeah. And he was in an offense that was, let's just say it's handicapped by Patrick Waugh, who's a defensive coach. And he still scored over 30 goals a year. I think 30 goals a year for the last 2 years. Might be wrong. That might need to be fact checked. But I know he scored at least 30 goals last year. He's good. He's really good. And in this offense, he should be able to shine as the 2C. The Natchez deal, getting him. And then the crappy part is Brandon going to the Stars, the Avs kryptonite. But
yeah,
that's for another day, because we're here to celebrate today.
But you know what? That's going to be fun. Now the Avs have another team to really kind of rail against. You've got Dallas and Vegas. Those are those two teams that we're all just kind of like, man, fuck you. And I don't think it's because we have any animosity against Mikko. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's up to you. But now it's just a great addition to the story, if Mikko scores some kind of goal to win a playoff game, he becomes a villain immediately. And I'll be excited for that too. It's that fun kind of back and forth. It just feels good to be able to have that, because it felt like for a while we weren't sure if our playoff window was going to continue. We have all this money tied up in Landeskog, and the Val Nichushkin wasn't coming back, and the goaltending was bad, and then all of a sudden, fucking couple months later, with some ridiculous video game trades over here, and you know what? This team looks pretty good. I'm pretty excited. I have an alarm going off. I apologize to everyone, but mostly you, Nick. Um, but like, dude, this is sweet. And I think you're right, Colin. I think one of the biggest things is that McFarland had carte blanche because Joe Sakic did something like this in the Cup run a few years ago. It wasn't as dramatic because he didn't trade any stars, but he totally revamped the depth and the kind of bench is kind of a way to put it, in basketball terms, of this team, bringing in, big defenders like Manson, bringing in, just gritty fan favorite guys like Cogliano, Helm, Levon Helm. That's not his first name. But this is going to be really fun to watch. I'm stoked.
Yeah, for McFarland, honestly, the way that this thing built was bringing in Team Viagra and all the wood that we have on this team now, and that working out so damn well for this Avs team, it gave him confidence to continue to make moves. And Alex, hey, we love you, man. We will Spartans. We can talk Spartans and Buffs next week. We got a full show, bud.
Our first game's not till the Spartans game's not till tomorrow anyway. Their first one. So
yeah, we will definitely catch up on that next show, and we'd love to have you for that. We'll give it a plug here. Obviously, Nick is the play-by-play announcer for the Colorado Spartans, as he represents right there. Make sure you follow them at the indoor football. They are playing at the Coliseum, correct?
Yes. April 12th is the home opener, but tomorrow's the first game of the season for the Colorado Spartans. Out in West Virginia.
So we'll get caught up on that after game one. We just it's a full slate today with all this stuff. But yeah, McFarland after those moves got made, and they worked out so well, was there any doubt that any moves Rantanen? There's just no way that this team was gonna look the same after the trade deadline, or even close to what it was when that Rantanen trade got made. Yeah, because that couldn't be it. That couldn't be it for this team. You don't give away. Well, I mean, I say give away because it kind of felt like it possibly, but the way Natchez and Drury have played, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, the Avs fleeced the Hurricanes.
It feels like, hey, calm down, Zach. Bye.
Yeah,
okay. It's not over yet. All right.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I think you're right, Colin. Like the sentiment I heard from smart hockey people, like our boss Drew, is expected. He was even calling it literally like Casey Middlestat is the next guy to go. The other day, and like
Middlestat, that was the other name that I was looking for.
Part of the Byram trade.
Because he was a big money dump. So it was nice to kind of be able to do some stuff with that. But like, yeah, man, like I think a lot of like just sports people in general could see there was probably more, but especially the hockey people like understood there's more to this, and we jokingly said it's Sidney Crosby. But like, dude, with all these kind of trades, like I'm not even mad that we didn't get Sidney Crosby. That was something I was a little bit afraid of, is that whatever the Avs did, fans would be upset because it's not Sidney Crosby. This is dope. And there's still a chance in the offseason to bring in Sidney Crosby, so we're fine.
Well, I mean, like I said, I was not joking and saying Sidney Crosby. It was definitely in the pipe
I know you weren't.
And they had the framework to make it work, like I said, because they would have given Pittsburgh a lot of rebuilding pieces. And that would have been the thing for them to do if they were getting rid of Crosby. So maybe they got, enough of the flavor of, playing on the same squad through the Four Nations tournament. They didn't need to do it in the NHL. Either way, it's still a sad thing for me because it didn't come to fruition, but I'm not disappointed at what happened in this Avs trade deadline, if that makes sense. Like,
no,
I'm still very happy.
Not an Avs fan.
Yeah.
Like from a team building standpoint, they feel deeper. They just feel more cohesive and better. As awesome as it was to have a guy like Mikko, it just feels better.
They look better. They're going to play better. And, a lot of people right now, a lot of the hockey headlines are look at the Panthers, look at these other teams that are getting better out here look at Dallas. Dallas just picked up the Moose. And I'm like,
Mikko.
And so the Avs make all these moves too, and they're kind of, they still feel under the radar a little bit, which I'm fine with.
Good.
I'll take an under the radar trade deadline making some big moves like that and going into the postseason ready to go. Because you don't have to be like the Broncos and start kicking the tires on some of these guys that are being released, because all of a sudden the NFL just feels like playing 52 card pickup.
Everybody's moving. And speaking of moving, Lindsay, appreciate you tuning in. See you.
Thanks, Lindsay.
See you.
He sees you.
I'll see
He's
you
stalking
at.
you.
Well, I guess not that early in the morning. We get a late start tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Is that good?
It's just different.
What's a late start for you?
It's just different.
8 o'clock.
Oh yeah, that's a late start. All right.
Thank you. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Lindsay.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in, by the way, whatever platform you're watching us on. We love you. Alex, thanks for getting in the comments. Michael's spilling up there, throwing us a like. Hey, anybody who jump on in, we'll be able to chat with you, obviously. So
thank you, everyone. Pretty much appreciated. Much love.
I'll start with the obvious one. There are people out there that are going to want this to happen. They're going to try and will it to happen. Is Von Miller coming back?
Maybe at a discount. Otherwise, I don't really see it helping. I would like to bring in another rotational pass rush guy, somebody that's a little bit bigger, bulkier, could kind of set the edge to an extent. But like and as much as I love Vaughn, I don't know that that's Vaughn. I'm honestly looking more at guys like from either one of the Chargers guys that just got released. Preferably Mac over Bosa.
Not Bosa.
But
not
like
Bosa.
Yeah, exactly. But just somebody that can come and do something like that. But I don't know. It'd be a Vaughn drastically changing his style of play, because we don't need another sack specialist. We have plenty of guys that can do that. We need to do other stuff. We need a big motherfucker in the middle. So I'm looking more at like Jonathan Allen that just got released from the Washington football team. There's a lot of good defensive linemen, defensive tackles in this free agent class.
Well, I mean, the one thing I will say is that, a lot of people are going to compare Vaughn having seen, Vaughn's moved around, but having had DeMarcus Ware here in Denver, winning that Super Bowl, and they're going to say, well, why doesn't Vaughn come back and do that? I'm trying, let me preface this. I'm trying my best this year going into the Broncos season to not be
negative Nancy.
To not look so
hoping
much
they lose.
Well, no, I'm definitely not hoping they lose. Like that's off the table, because if you're sitting there losing, then there's no way you're losing enough games to get Arch Manning coming up. So, I mean, there's like I don't want to. I'm not hoping for that anymore. Like, I don't want the high draft picks, but going into the season, negative Nancy. I'm trying my best to really enjoy the season and not try and take that, 7-year view of it, because I want to enjoy these years and the growth that
live in the moment
from this team.
Live in the moment.
Well, it is somewhat living in the moment, because you know what, that long-term picture that I had, if they start doing that now, then it's another 3 years before they get back to the point where they can do that.
Yeah, but let's be real too.
And that's why I'm, like I said, trying to change my tune. So that being said, when I look at Von Miller and him having DeMarcus Ware as a mentor here, that team was ready to win a Super Bowl. Could the Broncos win the Super Bowl this year? Of course they could. They have a great defense in place at this moment, but they also have a defense that we've seen to be shaky at times, and sometimes you don't know which one's going to show up. Is it the 70 or 40 some odd points to Buffalo defense, or is it the team that stopped other teams from scoring for second halves all season long? Which team is it? And so for the growth of this team, if Vaughn really wants to take the DeMarcus Ware route, I think he's going to go somewhere, possibly even like Cincinnati. That would be one where him as a pass rusher with Hendrickson, if he stays like that, that's a really good move.
No,
for
he's
them.
seeking a trade. Trey Hendrickson's seeking a trade.
Well,
so
was Myles Garrett until he just got paid today. So
That's true.
let's not.
Well, yeah, but also this is the Bengals. They don't pay anybody ever, and they're about to struggle with paying Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So I feel like this one is a lot more likely to happen. So like they might need someone to replace
what I'm saying
Trey
is like, it could be that too. But he saw DeMarcus Ware come to Denver and not at the top end of the like he had a good contract, but it turned out to be more valuable for the Broncos than it was for DeMarcus Ware. Like that deal was not the number one pass rusher type money that Vaughn was making in Buffalo. Up there. I don't think he was number one anymore because it was a few years old. But I think that he goes to a team, like I said, I think Cincinnati is a dark horse in this. I know you say that they can't afford to pay him. They're paying him for 1 year. And if he wants to come in and help for a year or two to try and get them over that hump because of the way that they ended that season, I could see that happening. I don't think he's ever going to the Chiefs. I think that he really does love Broncos country enough that he won't go there.
Chiefs, Chargers,
the
Raiders
Eagles could obviously make a move and try and swoop in and pick him up. That would be a move for him. There are teams out there that could go after services depending on his price. But like I said, my kind of dark horse move is that the Bengals, they kind of figure out what's going on. They bring in Vaughn, and then they sell Hendrickson on, hey, like this is where we're sitting. You know, we can go win a championship with the way the season ended last year, because that team is ready to win a Super Bowl if they can stop. If they don't lose to the Patriots, Patriots in game one, or learn how to stop someone. And so I think that that's the squad because nobody really looked at the Broncos as DeMarcus Ware's destination. It was kind of talked about a little bit, but it was like he wasn't leaving Dallas. He wasn't going to cut. You know, and then it happened, and we were all shocked at it.
Yeah, that was a big offseason. You know, and remember too, the Broncos lost the first year DeMarcus Ware came in. He brought in DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib, and T.J. Ward, and they lost to the Colts. I was there. It was awful. So, you know, it took a changing of the style of play too to the Wade Phillips defense to really make everything fit perfectly. But like I also look at it like Vaughn doesn't have a spot. Like they've already got, even with like Dondre Tillman, like they've even got rotational guys. Like they really just need a role player to help stop the run more. So I love Vaughn. That would be it'd be sick if we needed him. But like I don't see it happening. And I don't want them to pay Vaughn to come here and like just play a season kind of, you know, last year of his career or whatever. Like maybe next year.
That might be what he ends up doing though.
And
he's
he might
36.
play yeah, that's true.
He's 36. He's gone through 4 knee surgeries now?
Well, 4 knee surgeries and probably the same amount of suspensions.
Yeah, I mean, how many domestics does he have now? No convictions to his credit. I'm going to leave that alone.
They figured it out, folks. You know, it's a happy.
I think
home.
that's also going to be a thing for Sean Payton. Probably not interested in the possibility of having him here and not being available.
Yeah.
Like that, it would. I mean,
no, I'm looking at I'm looking interior. I'm looking at linebackers. I'm looking at depth corners. Because as much as I love the idea of Jaquan McMillan, you know, Stephon Gilmore might be a guy you can get for cheap to come and play the nickel and light people up and get some savvy vet interceptions. Or Asante Samuel Jr. might be a guy to come in and do the opposite and give up some tackles but get some big plays and be an athlete. And then you have the legacy of Asante Samuel Jr. and Patrick Surtain Jr. That sounds dope. Or just something like that. You know, I like the idea of, like I said, Jonathan Allen getting released by Washington. That's kind of awesome because before it was like, I don't know, fuck it, bring it. I mean, I don't think they can afford Milton Williams. I think he gets paid. The kid from the Eagles, I think they're looking at other guys like that. So I'm looking at more lower tier guys that can come in and just fill a role and contribute. Or just young guys that need another shot, like Asante, Elijah Moore from the Browns. Well, the Broncos be available if you want a quick receiver. Darius Slayton from the Giants is going to be available. There's some interesting dudes, but I'm also kind of a hipster, so I kind of gravitate towards guys like that in free agency anyway.
Yeah, we know.
I mean, it sounds like DJ Jones is staying.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I don't
kind of what I
hate that. I don't love it, though. I was kind of excited for maybe a bigger, like I said, motherfucker.
Well, I mean, maybe you just need to have a little faith in him like I had in Christian Brown.
Yeah.
Both.
I mean, that's the best way to winning is having faith. And Colin knows all about having faith in winning.
Faith.
Colin gotta have faith! Or the victory formation.
This is the victory formation.
All right, boys, here we go. Best play in football. 6 right tight diamond victory on 1. Break.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
The Pick'em segment, proving that Colin Zanker is the most humble man in the history of time. Least. Featuring Nick Archuleta, wishing he was somewhere else. And Joe Goodwin, just kind of winging it.
That's right. Welcome in, everybody, to the victory formation, the favorite part of the show because we're wrapping it up and sending you on your way with some picks and some results. We would be remiss to say, though, the Broncos did make one pick today. They picked Jared Stidham to remain with the team.
Yes,
not much more needs to be said about that. Yeah, so they chose him. I don't know if that's a winner or loser, but let's get to our winners and losers from
Jared Stidham. I choose you.
The first game we chose was between Creighton and St. John's. You know, I picked Creighton to win the NCAA tournament because I really liked how they were playing, and then they started to play like crap, and it all kind of started when they faced St. John's and got beat pretty bad. And with that being said, in this game, though, I was the only one to choose St. John's, so that means I won 1351 because it was minus 285. We did pick Team USA versus Canada. Nick picked Canada. Joe and I picked USA. But it was not the finals game. It was game 1 where Team USA won. So me and Nick got that one correct. And the NBA All-Star game, or me and Joe got that one correct. Excuse me, 1870 at minus 115.
I assumed you wrote it down
All-Star
correctly.
Game,
so.
we picking between Kenny and Chuck. Team Kenny was Joe's pick, and you obviously lost that. Me and Nick had Team Chuck at minus 177, means we won 1565. And then it was between Shaq and Candace. The overwhelming favorite, Team Shaq, at minus 485, was chosen by Nick. Congratulations. You won $2.06, so $12.06. Team Candace almost won that game, though. They were.
It was close. It was.
And then we moved on to opening day in men's college baseball. Arizona versus Clemson. Arizona was a huge favorite, but Clemson comes through at plus 235 to win Nick and I 42.50. That means, Joe, you won. You went 1-4. Nick, you went 3-2, and I went 4-1. So I was a big winner this week, moving into second place, winning 66.85. I'm at 154.06. Nick, you're still in third, but you won 50.21 this week, and you are at 138.57.
Nice.
Joe, with your losses, you ended up at minus 21.30, but still at 178.43. Just a reminder, Nick, you were 50 cents or $1.17 ahead of me as of the last pick'em. So, you're gonna have to play catch up. It's your turn to catch up. Now.
Give me time. It's a long season.
Well,
So
we don't have time
tomatoes
because we
across
got to get to this week's picks. We're gonna start off with a Big 12 championship game, round 1. Not a championship game. We don't know who's in it yet. How can we call the Big 12 championship game if we don't know who's playing? I don't know. It's a victory formation. I'm the prophet. So we're going to choose the round 1 matchup between Arizona State and Kansas State.
Cool.
Nick, who you got?
Oh, wow. That's a good matchup. Give me K-State. Go the Wildcats.
Nick is taking Kansas State. I am going Kansas State also. I don't have odds for it yet. But yeah, they had a 1-win difference between the two squads in the regular season. Joe, who you got?
Let's do it. Kansas State. Everyone picked the opposite.
I should have gone Arizona State. All right, we move on to the NBA. Matchup between two teams separated by one game at the moment. The Bucks and the Pacers matchup. Joe, who you got? Bucks or Pacers?
Bucks. Fuck it.
Joe is taking the Bucks. I am going to take the Pacers at home because I liked Reggie Miller.
So much thought is being put
Nick,
into these picks here, folks.
Who you got?
Well, I mean, I was already going to pick the Pacers because I thought nobody was going to pick the Pacers. And then Colin had to go and screw that all up. So give me the Pacers.
Let's still take the Pacers.
Technically, when I typed in my name, I typed in Pacers instead of my name. No, I actually think, and in all honesty, the Bucks have a weird matchup against the Pacers. I don't. It feels like whenever they're playing them, the Pacers play them down to the wire, and I don't know if they have their number, but it kind of feels like the Pacers are in the Bucks' head. I don't know. That's what it feels like from my recollection of games. I could be totally off base, but that's what I've seen and what I've kind of felt. So move on to the NHL. In the Lightning will play the Hurricanes. Lightning 37-22-4 are in Carolina 38-22-4. Oh, obviously Hurricanes have played one more game. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Duh, it's the NHL. They have.
Those are different numbers. What?
I am going Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay on the road. Nick, who you got?
Tampa got better with the trade deadline, and Carolina just started patching holes. So give me the Lightning.
Joe, who you got?
All right, everyone, pick No, I'm kidding. I wanted to pick Tampa, but I'll take Carolina. They did get a pretty good player from Dallas. I forget his name now, but they got a shit ton of picks though too. But I don't know. It's hockey. Fuck it. Let's go. As funny as it would be to just pick the
Carolina's
same.
a tough place to play.
Yeah, they were in the Cup. Or the conference finals? I want to say a couple years ago, right? Last year, something.
Yes,
recently,
or 2 years ago. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I don't think it was last year. But either way, we move on to college baseball. Number 7, Florida versus number 6, Florida State. Number 7, Florida's 15-2. Number 6, Florida State 15-0.
Who's home?
Florida State.
I don't know.
Nick, who you got?
It's still hard for me to pick against the Gators. Give me the Gators.
Why does it matter who's home if you were going to pick the Gators anyway?
Because who's pitching?
Maybe the Seminoles.
I don't know who's pitching.
Tell me who's pitching. I need to know.
I don't know who's pitching.
Nick just wanted to get some TV time there. Wait, who's home? Oh, well, I'll still take Florida.
Who's on first?
Joe, who you got?
I'll take the Florida State Seminole Vesicles.
Florida State Cinnamon Rolls?
Yes, that too. See, I said Florida State Seminole Vesicles, and I thought that was funny, and nobody laughed.
This is really tough.
Two good teams.
Where is Tampa closer to? Is it closer to where Florida State is or where Florida is?
I have no idea.
I
mean, honestly, I feel like Florida kind of is just
Gainesville,
the big brother school in general.
I think Tampa might be closer to Gainesville.
All right. What's closer to Tampa? Florida or Florida State?
Google Maps.
I am
This is like almost as important as who's pitching, folks. We have to know.
Closest college.
Because I don't know where Florida
Tampa.
State is.
What's that sitcom where they're trying to figure out if the character is gay or not? And the guy's like, it doesn't matter to me at all, but I have to know.
That still doesn't answer my my question.
Google Map it.
Oh, hey, there you go. All right, I'm doing this real quick.
We're getting it. We can tell. It's not that quick.
How close are we on time as I'm pulling up?
You got about a minute.
30 seconds.
All right. Well, let's see here. Tampa. Directions.
I just
flip
want I want to hear Colin go through this. Like Nick and I could keep stalling, but I just want to hear Colin talk us through Google Mapsing. Which one is
Tampa,
closer to Tampa?
Florida.
University
of
Florida.
Florida.
Because it's going to show you what Florida is.
What's the exact address? Is it like 1060 West
It's in
Addison?
Gainesville. That's an hour and 48 minutes away.
Okay.
Okay.
That's only one of them?
Florida
God damn.
State University.
Seminole Vesicles.
I hope that's it. Oh, yeah, they're all the way. Oh, wow. I didn't realize they were on the other. Florida States.
So which one would you pick?
Yep.
The further one or the closer one?
I'm taking Florida. Taking Florida. It's 3 hours, 57 minutes for me to get to Florida State.
How far south is it?
No, north.
It's north?
You're
3 hours north?
Tallahassee is way up north. Tampa's like down in the middle of Florida, but on the
Close.
Gulf side.
Yeah.
The Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
Yeah, Florida State is way. I didn't realize that.
I love this.
University.
The more you know.
Oh, Florida. I didn't
It's
realize.
supposed to be like the little, shooting star.
Yeah, that's Gainesville. Yep, Gainesville. Hour 48. Give me Florida. Give me not the not the state.
Yeah,
Because
Gainesville
I'll be
Gators.
closer to them. So there's my determination, and that's how we do things on the victory formation.
That's how we
At
roll.
least sometimes.
And we send it into space. It's just
The only rules here is that there are no rules.
Yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Again, we apologize for the last couple weeks. You don't want to listen to us pretend to talk when we couldn't.
I couldn't.
Colin actually couldn't. I
Yeah.
could a little bit, but it was not fun. Thank you, Michael Spillane, and everybody over at e5280sports.com for hosting us. Thank you to Pikes Peak Sports Cards, our sponsor. Thank Colin and Joe for joining me again and realizing that you do still love me a little bit.
We do, absolutely.
Oh.
If we tried to go, folks, it just would have been me trying to carry like 2 podcasts. And at that point, I should just start my own podcast. And why the fuck would I do that when I have this one?
Speaking of new podcasts, baseball fans, get ready.
Yes.
Oh,
Maybe an announcement coming soon.
Cooking.
yeah.
There's something.
Is it with our new coworker potentially?
No.
Oh, because he knows baseball.
Nope. We'll keep you up to date on what's happening. Let's just say it's a favorable situation for the batter.
Again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We love you. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, comment, distribute. We won't come after you like the FBI. So please make sure you share this with all your friends and family and loved ones and not loved ones and enemies and frenemies. Until next time, for Colin Zanker and Joe Goodwin, I'm Nick Archuleta. This has been Undrafted Uncensored. We love you guys. Have a great night. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.